Alright, this video is going to be titled Centralization of Control. And what we're going to do is take a look at 5 different examples of how we are being controlled. So let's get right into this first one where this lady is talking about the difference between punishment and accountability.
My name is Claudia Dunn. I'm a clinician. I've worked in the juvenile justice system for 30 years. And the issues of accountability is really dear to my heart because the court system and punishment is not accountability. And I've worked with kids over and over. I work with kids who are sentenced to life without parole at 15. And accountability is about helping people face what they've done and deal with the feelings and deal with how they impacted others. Our criminal justice system sets it up to be adversarial, and everyone we work with has been traumatized, and people don't understand the connections, the intergenerational trauma. But accountability and justice are not served by the way we do our system today. This film.
Okay, so she's basically pointing out the differences between holding one accountable for their actions compared to, treating someone as if they're inhuman, which is what the so-called justice system does. All right. All right. Now, in this next video, we're going to take a look at how in the medical field, they're taking all the control away from the patient. All right. So let's get right into this.
Judges have ruled that a Connecticut teenager will continue to receive chemotherapy for cancer against her will. That teen has called the treatment poison, while doctors insist that this chemo can save her life. The case has received national attention for the legal and ethical questions that it raises. Erica Edwards has the very latest.
At issue in front of the Connecticut Supreme Court on Thursday, should a 17-year-old girl, a minor, be able to refuse medical treatment that doctors say is very likely to save her life?
Does the right to refuse treatment spring into being on the morning of the 18th birthday?
Cassandra C. has Hodgkin lymphoma, a cancer of the immune system. It's a disease that has an up to 85% survival rate if treated with chemotherapy. Cassandra calls chemo toxic poison. Her mother, Jackie Fortin, has said her 17-year-old is mature enough to refuse treatment.
It's very serious, and my daughter does not want poison in her body. This is her constitutional right as a human being.
But according to the court's ruling Thursday, it's not. Cassandra has been under state custody since last month after investigators said Fortin allowed her sick daughter to miss doctor's appointments and medical tests. The justices cited other examples that Cassandra is not yet ready to make critical health decisions on her own.
After Cassandra represented to the trial court under oath that she would undergo treatment for her cancer, she ran away from home and stopped treatment.
Fortin was emotional after the ruling.
She knows I love her, and I'm going to keep on fighting for her.
The court's ruling means Cassandra will continue to receive the chemotherapy she doesn't want. It's expected to take 6 months.
Okay, so the only question you need to ask yourself after watching this video is who owns her body? Whoever owns her body is the only person who has the right to decide what is to be put in her body. Right, so in this example, we're going to look at how the government, whether state, federal, whatever it may be, feels it has the right to take money from you and spend in the way it wishes. So let's take a look at this.
Let's start by looking at what the word budget means. Simply put, it is a planned, itemized summary of money that is coming into the city and how that money is spent for a specific period of time. It is very important to note that provincial government legislation in Ontario states money coming in equals money going out, also known as revenue equals expenditures, or a balanced budget. The City of Ottawa provides more than 100 services to the citizens of Ottawa, so City Council and administration always have to make difficult decisions to ensure this balancing takes place. There are 2 main components of the budget when looking at the money going out side of the scale. Operating pays for all the day-to-day activities of the corporation. This includes items such as salaries and wages, utilities, supplies, fuel, and insurance, just to name a few. The capital budget pays for all the new big investments or the rehabilitation of current assets under the city's control. So let's focus on how the city collects to pay for all these services. For every dollar that comes into the city, 53 cents comes from property taxes, 18 cents from provincial grants, and 29 cents from user fees and other sources. So, now we have learned what a budget is, how cities collect money, and how they spend it. Now, let's take a look at how these pieces work together. Money comes in through property taxes, grants and subsidies, and user fees. The money collected is required for both the operating and capital budget. We've already talked about the operating budget, including day-to-day expenses, but it also includes money for funding capital budgets. The capital budget pays for all the new big investments or the renewal or rehabilitation of city assets and infrastructure. This connection is made through.
So basically, all this is saying is there are people that are given the privilege or have the gall to take money away from you and spend it in the way that they wish. All right, so let's now take a look at internet censorship.
The most common forms of technical censorship include IP address blocking, which is blocking access to an IP address, DNS filtering, which is blocking entrance to specific websites, uniform resource locator filtering, which is controlling access to some websites by searching for targeted keywords in the URL, and packet filtering, which is the passing or stopping of packets depending on the IP addresses on source or destination. However, it can also suppress freedom of speech and freedom in the internet overall. This is when it becomes unhealthy and crosses the line. In The Internet is for Everyone, Vint Cerf argues that we must have the freedom to speak and the freedom to hear. Unfortunately, in North Korea, only a very small elite have access to the internet, and even then, it's still severely restricted. The government uses mainly IP address blocking and DNS and packet filtering in order to prevent contact with the outside world, so they're only able to see government propaganda. In China, the government uses mainly DNS and URL filtering in order to prevent access to certain websites such as Facebook and Twitter. An unexplained error notification appears, meaning requests have been blocked. In these cases, it keeps people in the dark even about knowledge that would help progress society.
So, what you need to understand about internet censorship is it's happening all around the world and it is not for your benefit. All right, so let's get into one more story before we get out of here.
There are 450 million video surveillance cameras worldwide, recording petabytes of raw footage every day that is barely watched. What if you could transform all this unwatched video into real-time, actionable intelligence? Crimes would be solved faster. Cities would be safer. Companies would serve customers better. You have the footage. An easy-to-use, powerful software solution, enabling rapid review, search, and analysis of video content. Hours of video? Review it in minutes. Looking for something specific? Quickly pinpoint objects of interest by type, gender, size, color, direction, speed, and more. Slow to respond? Get real-time alerts of critical events. Missing critical operational metrics for decision support? Uncover invaluable operational insights for fact-based decision-making. In-store consumer behavior analytics? It's finally possible.
All right, so this video is helping you understand that the modern way to control people is going to be primarily through the use of technology. All right, so we went over some different methods that they use to control. So we're going to close it out here. You guys take it easy.